people can't keep up, then God bless. Charlie, really? Really, Charles? Like the moment? Sorry.
Yeah, the moment.
Charlie, come here. Why?
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 Because he's like, because
Who? There's nobody. There's literally nobody.
it's a
Just
door.
chill. Just chill. Okay, chill. Down.
Is this the girl's
Down.
dog?
Yeah. Well, it's become my dog over the last, like, I don't know. Well, I say my dog, but it's like we do a lot of things together, and he like checks up on me at night. Like I do a lot of stuff at night because I'm working with my boy in Pakistan. So
Yeah.
we're on opposite schedules. So then he'll be up at night hanging out with me. We'll go for little walks and stuff. So we've bonded a lot over the last little
Well,
while.
that's good. You need
So
a
it's
little
really fun.
companion.
Oh,
right,
having a
Yo,
dog's
go.
amazing, bro. Dog therapy. Don't sleep on
Yeah.
that, bro. Anyways,
Dog changed
go
your
ahead.
life. All
Changed my
right.
life.
So now that we talked about all that, welcome to the Uncommon Sense podcast. I am your host, Blake, and today I got with me my grandson, David
hello.
Deku. Yeah, so me and Deku knew each other for a long time. We played football together. We've kept close. We talk about a lot of life stuff. We were doing a podcast before this. We met some trials and tribulations with that one, but yeah, we're here now, and now we get to talk about some stuff. So the reason I asked Deku to come on today is I want to talk about communication. It's been one of those things where it's been affected by the internet and social media, and we have this, especially you being younger than me. I feel like your grouping of our generation is a little bit more affected about this than I am, or about the people like, in their late 30s are. But there seems to be a inability to properly communicate nowadays. I feel
in real
like,
life or via certain mediums.
I think real life. And I think I think also online too, as we see, like you see cancel culture, you see, tweets, comment sections and stuff. It's a lot of people barking a lot of stuff, but not being able to talk to each other in a disciplined format. Like to be able to, the exchange of ideas has gotten harder. I find. I feel like ideas are being put out there, if it makes sense. But I feel as being able to talk to each other and bounce an idea and debate an idea back and forth has become extremely hard, because you're having people who are trying. Too many people are chiming in. Too many people are kind of taking something from a conversation that may have been like not a staple of that conversation, not a point. But as someone who has, yeah, exactly. But as someone who has, for a better way of saying it, has been kind of studying communication over the internet.
That's humbling. Nice choice of words. It's very kind of you.
Well, I mean, listen, you've been obsessed with it for, I'd say, like the last 4 months.
Consumed by is the word.
That's it. And you've been experimenting and creating multiple accounts and trying to see how you can get the most likes or the most comments. You're trying to get people in, you're trying to see if you can get people engaged. You know what I mean? You're experimenting and you're going through this whole thing. So, I just wanted to talk to you about it because, it from the outside in, it seems like you're going insane, but I'm sure in the position you're in, I'm sure it's a interesting thing to take part in.
It's interesting. I mean, the word it's fascinating, in my opinion, to be the only one truly unabashedly communicating on the internet, in my Instagram bubble, to be more specific. And because of me bucking the trends, I guess, or whatever we're supposed to do, or the unspoken rules of Instagram, I find that I'm getting a lot of pushback with regards to people perceiving it as a depiction of my mental health, people depicting it as a sign of my instability, a sign of my loss of control with reality. Like, there's so many interpretations of me just literally trying to figure out the Truman Show of Instagram. Like, literally. I realize that it's a charade. I realize that it's all a game. I realize that, like, literally, if you knock on the person's door enough times when they're holding their phone, if they're the ones that run their own social media, you get to them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting Lena White looking at my random posts about Wakanda. Like, because I've knocked every single day at this time in a different way, with different creativity, showing that I've read about her bio, showing that I understand the work that she's done, showing that I've listened to Issa Rae's masterclass, and like all these type of things. I mean, like, you can put that into one sentence and be concise. Right. And though I've done it 60 times every morning between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., I still get yields and I still get the responses and the pingbacks that I'm looking for. So in the end, I've built not a method, but like a way to get the person I want to see my shit to see my shit. I mean, and I don't know. It's like ASAP Yams did the same thing with Tumblr early. He literally just pretended to be more than one person on the internet. Like, everyone's done this. Tyler, the Creator, done this. And I'm not saying this as if I'm one of the greats. I'm just saying that, like, I'm using their model.
Yeah, you're just following the method. That's right.
I'm just following the method. It's literally, this is the medium that we use. Let's figure out all the edges of it. And everything's in my highlights. So it's not like I'm lying about this. If you go into the highlights, it's called Truman Show. It's literally every time I get to one of the edges of Instagram, too many posts, too many tags, too early, bad community guidelines, all this type of shit I just recorded, and it's just fun for me to like literally run as fast as I can, do as much as I can in the wrong way, and see how the algorithm flags me and how it stops me and how I learn from it. You know, so now I know how to navigate. Like, now when I'm doing my new podcast, which is Undertow, when I'm doing that, every single post is targeted, segmented, intelligent, understood, put together. But I have to figure out the edges of the place before, like, you have to learn the game by messing up before you can play the game to its fullest. So I've chosen to use this quarantine time, and even I've done it in the morning to allow for no one to bug me. So literally I'll wake up, and because I'm working with my boy in Pakistan, from like 2 till 6 a.m. we're usually having meetings and stuff. So in that time, I'll play with Live. I'll play with Instagram Live. I'll play with Instagram Video, with all the techniques of Instagram Video. And like, I'm doing all these things literally sequentially. And I work in film, and I have a production studio. Like, all of this is conducive. But instead of people asking, everybody assumes I'm broken. I've been taking my pills. People want to fight me. Like, and all I'm doing is
people want to fight you.
Posting. Bro, you don't even understand. I mean, I am tagging them specifically in things and have angry energy, so it's David. So I'm not going to pretend and innocent the story. But the reality is just like, I personally just don't see what I'm doing wrong. Maybe you can enlighten me to what I'm doing wrong. Because if someone took the time to ask, I can explain this very articulately and thoroughly. I have data. I have a whole Google Doc of all of my research that I've called deemed research, and it's literally me trying, and all the data I'm using can be used for things that I'm like, I work in production. I work in film. I worked on X-Men. Like, I'm not an idiot, but no one asks. And that really bugs me. That's a whole different conversation, you know? But anyway, I digress.
No, and I understand what you're saying. I think it's because what's happening is you've put yourself into a medium that is built on a quick fix. You know what I mean?
Performance and a quick fix.
Well, yeah, performance in a certain sense, but it's more about flash. You know what I'm saying? It's more about just getting that kick or that look or that whatever, like really, really quickly.
That dopamine hit.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's happening is because you're studying this thing as a case study and you're looking at this, you're around a lot of people. Let's put it this way. You're a scholar who is hanging around with a bunch of frat boys. And you're expecting the frat boys to ask you intellectual questions and think about things in a certain context to where you're over their head because you're taking something that is I'm going to say seemingly shallow, yes, but you're putting it in context.
I'll even go a step further. You know because you're my grandpa. We've talked about this and we've been on podcasts together talking about this. We've had conversations about this off air. Like, it's not an issue. I know we can talk about this. You know, I have been caught by the web that is Instagram and the dopamine drip and the dopamine fast that comes subsequently when you withdraw from it. You understand? Like, you know, I've been through this ad nauseum. At this point, it's more like the devil I know than anything. So I've literally taken for the last 4 years, I've been recording voice notes of my own mental health to fact check myself to make sure that I'm not crazy, because I just don't know. So I figured if I record myself, look at it a month later in a level of rationale that would allow for me to have that detachment, I can rewatch it to know if at that time, at least, it's almost like a COVID test for my brain. I mean, like, you never know if you are crazy, but you know if you were crazy. So you can at least pick up the pieces, you know, say the sorries, say, am I bad for this? I was in this space. It is what it is. It's mental health journey. It's what my therapist told me to do. It's what my therapist told me to do. It's my psychologist told me to do. It's all these things. All that being said, wait, I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I was running a little too fast.
No, you were talking about now you've made me lose my train of thought. We were talking about I asked you shit. No,
take your time. It's okay.
No, I'm trying to go back and remember where we were. You were talking about how you were we were studying the internet.
Oh yes, studying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in the studying of it, what I've gotten to understand is that when using it properly, it is not a problem. When getting your validation from it, when getting your plus and minuses about your own personal life and your goals in life from it, when self-worth comes from it, when self-quantification comes from it, when all these things come from this medium built by bros in Silicon Valley, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
But if you use it as a weapon to get to the people that you want to get to, get in the rooms you want to get to, get into the meetings you want to get to, get into the vibes you want to get to, have multiple faces so no one can follow you or track you or block you, because you can get into the meeting whenever you want to, and it's not about malice, it's about getting information, bro, you can run real fast. Real fast and real accurately, having done all the Truman Show mistakes. Because now I know that if I tag 11 people in something, it doesn't work. If I tag 10, I could have read all this on the internet if I wanted to, technically, but I just chose to like smash into it rather, because it doesn't hurt anybody.
You wanted your own experience, right?
I wanted my own experience. Now, when I read about how to optimize my SEO and my what's the other one? SEO and there's organic and non-organic on Google.
You're asking the wrong person. I literally just do it just go.
That's my entire point, is that I'm literally digging into the machinations of the programming of this, and then people are asking me, why are you posting so much? And I'm like, ask, you fucking idiots. Like, that's literally all I'm saying. It's like, it's not like just ask. Like, ask. Like, if when our boy Melito was going through it, what did we do? Right. We asked. He told. We adapted, we supported. It's not rocket science, man. And the same. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Keep going with what you're saying.
No, it's just, I don't know. I'm about to rant about something that doesn't have to do with this, but in my world,
rant about it. It's okay.
Are you making good content, or this is actually something you want to talk about?
What's that?
Are you making good content, or this is something
I don't worry about talk about? I don't worry about that.
That's what I thought.
I let things go where they go. Content creates itself.
This is why I love you. Anyways, long story short, it's very frustrating to live in a world where everyone deems Bell Let's Talk as the thing, but no one wants to talk. Simply put, it's like, I'm here. Motherfuckers know that by everyone else's standards, I'm bipolar, I'm crazy, I'm broken, whatever the fuck it is. And when Deku's overposting, what y'all do is talk about how crazy it is and how dumb it is, how annoying he is, rather than be like, there's a bump in how much he's done this. Maybe there's something going on here. We should look into this. There's a drop off in how much he's done this. Maybe we should look into this. That's what I do with all my friends. And 98% of the time, they're going through something, whether it goes up or low. And because I've been through it and I know the medium, I can check up on people like that. but everyone else is going, or everyone else that I know at the very least, or seemingly, minus you and a few other people that are very close to me, and thank you, will laugh, not ask questions, and just make noise, talk within each other, but then post about Bell Let's Talk, but then talk about being an ally to mental health, but talk about how mental health journeys are important. Like, shut the fuck up, dog. Like, all y'all is not doing the thing to me. I know. Like, so anyways, I digress. Forgive me, but it's just
but you see, but this is why you doing what you're doing. This is why it's interesting, because you're existing or you're choosing to study I always consider social media to be make-believe.
It is.
Like, I think there are very few people on social media, and I think they rise to the top of social media, because if there's one thing that I've learned from doing my own thing, like when I started doing this podcast, and like after we had done so many,
we did 4 now?
I think 4
podcasts,
something like 4.
Like we've tried separate podcasts that we've tried to get off the ground and failed because of scheduling or timing
or whatever it is. So after kind of meditating on that and looking at everything, and we've talked about this before when I check up on you and I talk about whatever, and I felt like you were getting caught up on stuff, or
which you were right.
You were in the semantics of things. But the thing
you were right, because you checked in and you asked, "You good? Nah, bet. Let's talk." Like, it's on record. Anyways,
that's it.
Go ahead.
But the thing that I looked at and I realized through this was, what's important is doing it. It's the content in itself being authentic, and when the content itself is authentic, when it's not about, like, this even goes back to when I used to do photography. I hate poses. I hate posing pictures. Yeah. And it drives my girlfriend nuts.
Yeah. Like, why are you posing? Just move.
I'm the kind of person that I will take pictures of everything in its natural state. Yeah. Because that's the moment I want to capture. I'm not really interested in forced smiles. As my girlfriend always makes a joke, I can't force smile.
Me too. Me too. I'm so bad. Like, my girl literally tells me, more eyes, less teeth.
Yeah. She's like, smile,
shoulders.
She's like, is this good?
Is this good? Is this it?
Okay, well, can I stop now?
Exactly.
Because it hurts. I can't do it. But it's the same approach that I bring to this, is that in the end, I think what happens is a lot of people either get caught up on going after a topic and trying to. The problem is, for me, when you go about a topic in a certain, well, not even the chase. When you go around the topic, what you're doing is you're inadvertently creating that echo chamber to hear what you want to hear.
Bang.
What I prefer to do is find out somebody who knows something about what it is I'm interested in, talk to them about it, and then allow that conversation to go and to delve more into the person, because that will give me more of an idea as to, one, where the biases lay from the person, and two, a more expanded understanding of the topic as to which I'm interested.
You know where we learned that? You remember where I can vividly remember the experience with you, Ernst, and I think Melito, where we learned that, or I learned that. Remember when we went to TriStar with Sandro? South to Sandro Fair, by the way.
Yeah, Sandro and my fighter there.
Exactly. I forget his name.
Ariel. Yeah.
Ariel. Yes, Ariel. Yeah. Oh, fucking shouts to Ariel. How's she doing, by the way?
She's good. Her and her boyfriend moved up to a farm up north.
That's why she's been not.
Yeah, she's like, she does ultra marathons now.
Good for her. At least she found something, because she was in a pocket of high athleticism, but with no direction. So I'm glad
she had no one to fight. There was not enough fighters, so she was just getting
exactly. But anyways, when I was talking with Sandro, that's where I first realized that, oh fuck, if you don't control the conversation, but put someone who is learned, interesting, and willing to talk in front of you, 98% of the time, based on your melded experiences, beautiful content gets created. Because in the end, it's an organic, truthful conversation where both of you don't know where you're going. So you fall into each other's biases, and that falling and adapting and growing is what I think is the beauty of long form conversation. But hey, don't fuck me, right? Sorry for cussing.
No, you can cuss all you want. Fuck, shit, poop, crap, whatever. That's it's a grown-up podcast. If you can't understand it, you can't get past a couple of words of swearing, you're in the wrong place.
It ain't for you. It ain't the Uncommon Sense podcast.
It's not for you. It's not, if you get caught up on a couple of words, then
you
it's not
know,
for you. But the interesting, I mean, listen, like we've gone back and forth a number of times about like what you're doing and where you're going and all this kind of stuff, and I've voiced my opinion about it, and I've tried to tell you about things. And there was a time where I sat back because it's like we talk about it. Your posts became concise; they became more on point, and then every once in a while, exactly the Instagram diarrhea would come back out again. So it would start flooding the market again, and then I'd see like some random account that I knew was you.
Yeah,
like you're following me or liked or whatever, and I was like, it's another one, and that's
here
another
we go.
one. There's another one.
Shouts to Instagram. Instagram finally allows more than 5 Instagrams as one session. So now I can have all my Instagrams and just switch between them, like I'm like a bunch of different faces. It's super cool. Super fucking fun.
But yeah, so and then I started thinking, I sat down and started thinking about it. Like, I'm like, okay, well, listen, it's not my way, and it's probably not the generalized way of people, and this is probably why you're met with so much backlash. Because I started thinking about it from my perspective, and as being someone on the opposite side, the only thing that was I don't want to say it was frustrating, because it's not frustrating. The only thing that was confusing about it was, like you said, there's an established, I guess there's like an unspoken language of social media. Yeah, there's an unspoken language.
A set of unspoken rules.
Well, yeah, but it's more like a preference, right? It's the way that people communicate to each other. So the example that always pops into my head is, so you will mention people in your stories.
Yes.
And I will look at that, and the reason I would get confused, because I was like, okay, he's mentioning me, but I'm not in this. Because for the general sense, when you mention someone on social media, it's because they're involved in what you're doing. But you were using it in terms to simply to get somebody's attention. Right?
To get someone's attention, A, and B, plant a seed of an idea in your brain if you choose to. So rather than me forcing it into your brain, I'm kind of like tagging you in something that has to do with it. If you go and dig, we can have a conversation for sure. But if you don't, then it is what it is, because then it's not David inflicting these ideas on people.
No, yeah, and that I get. But I think where the frustration was coming in, or where people were getting confused, was because usually that's what posts do. Like a post usually drives you to an idea. A post is usually an idea or comment or statement that is kind of made to have you focus on something. Take the time. Read, focus, look at the video, do whatever. It makes you think, right? And then in that process, someone will like, or they'll comment or whatever, and then that will draw a further conversation that'll slip into DMs, and then DMs you'll have a personal conversation. But in the terms of how you were using it, again, like you said, you were experimenting with different things, seeing where you could do what you could do. I think what was happening was, and this is why I wanted to talk to you about communication, was because it's like you were trying to rewrite the language as to what people were talking to. But
and it works. And it works.
I think so what I think happens is, I think in terms of how you're using it for your endeavors, it's working. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to draw eyes, right? Like you're trying to get
bucking.
People.
I'm a marketing major from McGill, just to be clear. Studying in social media marketing before Instagram was grown. So I was in the skeleton of it, and now I see how it's grown. So like, let's not forget that I'm actually learning in this on a programming side, on a UX UI side.
Even if you weren't, it wouldn't make a difference, because the ones who are the greatest.
Anyways, go ahead.
The ones who are the greatest at it are not the ones who sat there and studied in school.
Exactly, is the ones who are using it. So I chose
application. It's not learned behavior, because learned behavior breeds the circle. Like you use it the way you're being taught, the way everything, right? But the thing about social media is not like generalized language. Like you don't learn how to conduct yourself on social media the same way you learn how to speak English or you learn
The
how to
same way
speak
that
French.
you learn how to move socially. It's not the same
Exactly.
way. It
It's
depends on
not.
where you're from. It depends on regional issues. It depends on your Wi-Fi. It depends on so many fucking things as to how people communicate. So then the fact that we have the hubris to believe that 3 posts a day and 1 real post is the maximum you can do, David. I'm telling you, you're not supposed to. From 10,000 people, bruh. Like fuck you, man. Like all y'all idiots, bro. Like use your fucking brain. How you doing, baby? Wifey just came in.
Yeah, but it's not even, it's not even idiots. It's the what you're meeting is what anybody who decides to reach out of the norm and decipher how they're going to do things. Like that's the normalcy of it all. You're choosing to go off path, right?
Yes,
you're choosing to open yourself up. So
because the essence of marketing is differentiation. So if I'm reading the same book as you and doing the same thing as you, trying to get the same eyes as you, it's counter fucking intuitive.
But that's the way that marketing works now.
For marketing, people who have dollars,
the majority of marketing
who have the money to pay for the insights, for people who have money to pay for the boosts, so for people who have money to pay for the promotion. We don't have that money. What do? You're not supposed to promote your shit.
No, and I'm not disputing that for you. I'm just no. You're good. It's fine. I'm just what I'm stating is I'm just stating this in a way where this is the normalcy of how people are, and this is what people are used to. And as you see in any aspect of society, the more normal or the less normal, I should say, of path that you take, the more resistance you are going to be meeting to that path, especially when it comes to social media, because social media, especially now, is such a volatile situation.
And people believe it to be reality.
Well, that's it. That's it.
Because their dumbass president uses it as a weapon. Why can't I use it as a weapon?
Well, that's it. But again, it's a form of conformity to try to understand how to communicate, right? And again, listen, we never saw anything like Trump. I've seen it 1,000 times. African dictators have been doing it for years. Well, yes, of course.
This ain't news.
But I'm saying, but in the West,
by this, oh my God, it's preposterous. How can it happen on American land? Like, bro, you idiots! It's been happening in Africa. Y'all just ain't looking. I'm African. I've seen it happen 3 times in my country. I know how this plays out. I've seen this. And everyone's surprised because it's white people, and it's such a shock that white people could move like the savages. Oh, like, bro, I don't have time for this shit no more. Like, anyway, sorry, we get mad.
But that's the thing. But you always, but
then I'm crazy.
Well, yes, but that's okay though.
That's a whole different conversation. Actually,
you're allowed.
I'm still crazy.
No, you're allowed to be. It's fine. You can be crazy. It's how you hone that craziness into something productive. That's where it all matters. But the whole thing is, again, it's about communication, right? It's about the fact that, and again, you got to look at, obviously, listen, you're African, you understand that, but then you have to also look at, how is your continent portrayed? In the world, how is it not covered? How is it not how much do we actually learn about the continent of Africa? Countries like Ghana, countries like Zimbabwe, countries like the Ivory, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria. For you, it's your life because it's who you are. But for the majority of people on this part of the planet, it's not. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing when
it's my life. It's frustrating
for sure. But you know what? But you're the minority experience when these things are happening.
We're all African American, but I'm the minority experience, apparently.
Well, but listen, being African American, we've been removed from our heritage.
So then call it American, because if you're African American, you'd be looking at Africa too, bro. And it's not a call out; it's the reality of the situation. Because in the end, it's not new moves. What I'm doing,
no moves are new.
What Trump did isn't new moves. What African dictators did isn't new moves. It's all history. We all like. It's just I'm so tired of people yelling at me like I'm a pioneer. Like, no, I'm not special. I'm not special. I'm just
No, but
using
you're
the same
different.
thing, but doing it for good.
But
You
you're
know,
different. That's the
I'm not
difference. You're
different.
different. You are
I'm not.
different.
I'm not. I'm
You
not.
are. You are.
Everyone can think like this. It's not fucking rocket science.
But not everybody does, and not everybody can.
It's a choice, in my opinion.
No, it's not a choice. Well, it is a choice to a certain extent. I mean, you can go against the grain, but the fact of the matter is people are built for survival. Like, and this is surviving. You know, so if people feel that they can not become influential and they can ride the wave, it's more important to them to survive and be happy than it is for them to incite the change that in the end could end up hindering them more than help them.
And I think that's what I've leaned into personally, where I've accepted that for me to be the change I want to be in this world, I have to rub some people in the wrong way. I'm sorry. And
You just
my
be yourself.
intentions are good. My intentions are good. My heart's in the right place. And everything I'm doing is for good. And I'm taking 0% on everything. So in the end, you can't knock me for doing what I'm doing and being brash the way I am, because in the end, nobody else is fucking doing it. Everything I'm doing right now is ideas I've had for 4 years, bro. It's written down. I have it written down. I went back to it and I told myself 4 years ago, if it's not done in 5 years, you have to do it. So now I'm doing it and I'm upset. I don't want to do this.
Why not?
Literally. But because it's exhausting work. It's work that pushes people, that has to go against people, that has to re-educate people, all this type of shit. That shit's not fun for nobody because no one wants to get uncomfortable. People are dying and people are uncomfortable. So, like, I don't know. I just can't. So I just decided to fuck it. I'm going to do what I have to do. I know what I'm doing isn't wrong. I have 33 years on this planet of me literally fucking up. I know what not to do. Trust me. I've done it. Now, if I'm doing good, but being a little bit brash about it, I'm in trouble.
But really? So what do you mean by being brash about it?
I mean,
because again, this comes back to the communication thing.
So. Brash was bad communication. Good communication is I am being unorthodox with my movements on social media. That is causing me a lot of real life stress because friends and family see it as a depiction of my mental health and see it as I could not have control of my social media posting. That's the actual words for brash.
See, I never thought that you lost. For me, it was never a question for you of a question of control. My question became more about obsession.
Why?
Because
I'm with you. I'm here.
Oh, sorry. It's because my girlfriend was saying something, so I was seeing if she was yelling at me for something. But
by the way, congrats, happy birthday, Monroe gang.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thanks.
Yeah, I saw the little cake and everything, looking cute on the button. She got your same cheeks. It's so weird.
I know she's a little me. I know it's very odd.
It's so weird. Anyways,
I'm a little scared, but yeah, it is what it is.
Should be.
But yeah, so for me, it was never a question that you were going to be. It was never a question that you were losing control. It was more about what I was afraid of, I guess, was the obsession in placing the obsession in the wrong position.
Yes, misplaced work ethic. We had this discussion.
Like we've talked about, right? Like your family history is more of people who are very dedicated people who move, but they tend to get caught up in semantics, like trying to create the perfect ecosystem to have something thrive, as opposed to, just learn how to navigate and just toughen the process so that it can deal with what it's dealing with. So in my mind, that was the only thing, is that I was more worried about you actually creating the content and having things move forward than simply just trying to create a perfect environment.
If you knew the amount of pushback I get from my day one friends for doing exactly what you're saying, rather than taking the time to curate it and make sure it's proper and perfect and the audio was great and this and that and the content is perfect, and then literally, I'm talking, you can ask my girl, literally they call me as a trio and yell at me. saying I'm making bad content, that I'm hurting their children with the content I'm making. I'm irresponsible. I was
Well,
like,
so then why are they your friends?
that's shut up, man. Yes, I know. Case in point.
But why are they your friends though?
History at this point.
Like that's the thing. It's again, for me, it comes back to communication. I think this is it's one of the pitfalls of social media is people get caught up in the idea that they have to be comfortable or they have to be applicable to everybody. And in being in that position, you have to sacrifice a lot of yourself to not be able to offend anybody. You know what I mean?
If you are moving that way.
If that's a position you're moving into.
If that's the way you choose to move.
That's it. Again, like I go back to my content. I go back to this podcast. I've had buddies, like I had a buddy the other day who's like one of my lifelong best friends who, you know, sat down with me and, you know, said, yeah, I like the podcast, but, you know, there's this and there's that and there's this and, you know, whatever. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm like it. And then I said, let me explain to you exactly how this works, at least for me. I'm like, I love doing this podcast because I like talking to interesting people. I like having worthwhile conversations, and I like talking to people who have experiences that are different from my own. I'm like, in my mind, the most important thing is the conversation and the content.
That's what I've been saying.
I don't really care about like if it's fancy or if it's got, you know, I mean, eventually, listen, one day I'd love to be like the Buttery Bros and stuff and have all these amazing freaking graphics and stuff. I'd love it. I would absolutely.
That's the best part. In our entire career of podcasts, we've always wanted to be the Buttery Bros. And because we couldn't be the Buttery Bros, we decided, you know what? Let's just do it. And when we did it, it always worked better.
Well, that's it. So, but I've always believed that everything will evolve slowly. You know what I mean? And I always wanted to stay true to be authentic. I didn't want to make it something where it becomes a burden where I start fishing for people to get it. But in the same instance, I treat my life in that same respect. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to training, when it comes to life, when it comes to, you know, work, when it comes to whatever, it's like, I know where my strengths are and I know where my weaknesses are. And creating the best content at the time that what I'm doing with what I have available, that's what is important to me. You know what I mean? That's the thing that's what becomes more important, and that is what is the most important. And it is what's most important. And I understand there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of dudes out there who are doing amazing podcasts with, you know, tons of equipment and
awesome cool shit. I ain't knocking the glossiness. If you got it, go get it. I ain't mad. But if you don't got it, how you supposed to go get it? But
again, it's also about, you know, I have to not authenticate. I have to put myself through the ringer. I have to practice this. I have to be able to talk into a microphone to somebody else. I have to be able to ask pertinent questions. I have to be able to make, like, you know, I have to be able to make thoughtful statements. I have to be able to, you know, be clairvoyant in what I'm trying to say and not try to stutter.
I never asked you this as a human, as a podcaster, and I'm diving in. Sorry if I cut you off there. Do you practice that?
No, I usually just think about it for a while. Like if I had, like I knew I had you on today, so in my mind, it's like I'll play the scenario in my head and I'll try to think about things that I'd want to ask you. I think about what I figured your reactions would be, and then how I would deal with them. Like in my head, it goes over a couple times. But like as far as like, do I sit here and kind of like rehearse it? No,
because you're doing a type of podcasting that's always scared me, which is one-on-one, straight up, let's get into it. That type of shit, I've always been afraid that I'm going to expose my own biases and my own issues and my own shortcomings, which is essentially what you're doing, but you're growing from it as you're going through it.
Well, that's it. And I think that's...
Said, I'd love to get to where you are. because I'm still, as you said, you're the one who told me this. You're the one who told me stop getting other people to say the words that you want to say.
Yeah.
You're the one that told me that. You're the one that told me that. So that being said, I'm not good at saying my own words. How do I practice that?
But you are good at saying your own words because you just did it for 10 minutes.
Well, I guess. Maybe that one.
You just went on a rant and said exactly everything you feel, and that's all it is. It's just
I'm gonna go ahead and say it this way then. You get the best me. Other people get a mediocre version of me based on my insecurities, my anxieties, how I perceive myself. Literally, there was this person I was talking to, and I literally said, sorry for the broke movements. Nothing about that was broke movements, but because I believe that I'm broke and I have that insecurity and I perceive that they perceive it, but with you, there's nothing, because I know that you know all my shit. You know what I mean?
But I think that's like, listen, I don't consider myself to be, I just try to be, I try to be myself and not think about it. Like I just let my response. Yeah, I let my response be authentic. I let my knowledge be authentic. And if I don't know something, I say I don't know. If I have an opinion about something, I say it's my opinion. You know what I mean? I don't try to pass it off as general knowledge. That's why I call it the Uncommon Sense Podcast, is because I want to try to remove as many generalities as I possibly can and not really look at things through that, oh, well, you just should know it, as opposed to let me figure it out. You know what I mean?
How do you mitigate the shoulds?
You just take nothing as a should.
No, I mean, how do you mitigate the shoulds? Wait, have you had any shoulds in your 15 to 20 episodes now, I think?
This is 21. Yeah.
Hey, 21. Deion Sanders. Gang. We out here.
This is 21. Yeah. This will be 21. I got to put up. So that's it.
Really proud of you, by the way. Really, really proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're doing the thing.
I'm doing something. That's what I was telling myself. You're doing something.
No, but that's it. For 4 years of creating with you, you've been saying you want to create your platform to sit with people and pick them apart the way you want to, and you haven't done it, and now you did it. So I'm proud of you. So don't try to minimize that, grandpa.
No, I appreciate it. I thank you. I appreciate it. It took a pandemic for me to be like, let's just do this thing and just see how it goes. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It took you cutting off your hair, I think. How did that go, by the way?
I just decided and just did it.
Of course you did.
I'm gonna grow it back again. Like I'm gonna start doing it all over again. But it just whatever. I'm blessed with hair, so it's like, my mom's got great hair, so she passed it on to me. So it's not a big thing.
Oh, don't kill me. When I saw the dreads, we never actually had this conversation, but when I saw the dreads, yes, Charlie, I got you. When I saw the dreads on the ground, I think it was a picture on Facebook or some shit.
Yeah.
Literally, I looked at it and went, as if like this is just Tuesday morning at 3:30 a.m.
It's just the metamorphosis.
It was in the way.
I like changing. I like adapting and being different and doing different things and not getting caught up on not holding on to something that I see like as my identity, because I feel like it just puts you in a hole. You know, like I want to be able to navigate like different things. Cut my hair off because I feel like cutting my hair off will grow my hair back out again. It's like you really only know how much you really love something until you lose it, and you're like, yeah, I want it back. You know what I mean?
Or the true beauty is when you do the cutting off deliberately yourself, and then you go, I don't need it back. This is better.
Yeah.
That's no better feeling. No better feeling.
But yeah, so in studying all the stuff that you're doing with social media, and then opening the multiple accounts and stuff, like you said, it seems to work for you that you're getting to the people you want to get to. Yeah. But you're also feel like you're alienating yourself from the general population, from the general peoples. But do you feel like it's a weeding process of those who weren't really cool with you at first are the ones who are being kind of like annoyed into exodus, or would you say it's just like are you feel like it's people who are kind of like fair weather friends, or are you seeing like actual people who you love
It's
and
all
care
fair
about?
weather.
Be like,
It's all fair weather, whether they want to accept it or not. That's the sad part.
okay.
That's the toughest part for some people.
Okay.
It's the fact that they perceive themselves as non-fair weather,
Mhm.
but in a 7-year slide into depression, suicide, pain, hurting people, sex, drugs, addiction, etc., the person cites one instance where they gave you $150 as "I was there for you," and you go, "Oh," and then you ask the question, "Yo, how long do you think I was going through it?" And their response is not a number, but "Why are you asking the question?" And then you go, "Okay." Okay.
Okay. So
It's
it's
a
like,
lot, a lot, a lot of that. A lot of
mhm,
people who, for their own perception of self, need to believe that they were there for little old Deku when he was going through it,
mhm.
but weren't. You were there.
As much
Me
as I
was
could be,
there.
yeah, I tried to be there as much as
But
I
that's the
could.
thing, is that you tried to be there. Other people avoid it. And the ones who avoid it are the ones talking about
Mhm,
they were there. I'm like, no, you
mhm.
didn't show up, bro. Like,
I feel you, yeah.
sorry. And now I can go back to my journals, and I've been recording almost daily my own journals, my own voice notes, my own videos for 4 years. So I have 4 years of data that I can reference as mementos of myself. So
Mhm,
literally, when someone goes, "On this day I did this," trying to deem me crazy, I can go
mhm,
back, hear myself say, "This person did this to me. It really hurt, and I felt this way." Nah, nah, nah. The only bias that I allow myself is the fact that I could have been lying in the past, or my perception of it could have been different. But that being said, the data of the fact is still, I allow it to be my truth. Let's put it that way. I
okay,
allow it to be my truth. And
okay.
in allowing it to be my truth, the call outs I'm able to do, but with uh, accuracy of, "My friend, no, you were not there for me in this because at that time Blake was there and here's the picture." I mean, that,
Mhm,
uh, it hurts people in a real way. And I'm almost getting joy from it, which hurts in a different thing. It's a whole different issue. But it's like, it's almost this weird Joker-esque, remember Joker, the movie? What's it called? What's his name? White
Joaquin
boy that does
Phoenix?
good movie. Yeah, that nigga. So him, you know the scene. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. This is still a
Yeah, three,
podcast.
two, one.
Spoiler
Okay,
alert.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
If you haven't seen Joker, I'm about to
Yeah.
say a part of Joker that's really dope. I'll give you like 5 seconds.
We say whatever you want. I don't care. They
I'm
listen to
doing
it.
it for the people, Blake. Focus on the people, Blake.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
kidding. All right.
This
So basically, the point
exists on
is,
its own.
remember the scene where when he's decided to accept himself as being that bad person, that person who killed, that person who's not good enough, whatever variation of that, and
When he
leans into the
decides he's
Joker
the
and
villain,
paints his face, and he's in his mom's room painting
yeah.
his
Hmm.
face. When
Hmm.
he's doing that, and then the door knocks, and it's the two bozos and the little person,
Hmm.
and the two bozos start playing with him, and now he don't have time for it anymore, so he literally murders them viciously,
Yeah.
and then he's sitting there in their blood, and then the little person goes, "I'd like to leave," and then he goes, "Go ahead, man. I'm not gonna hurt you," and he means it, but because of the depiction of violence that just happened, that person doesn't believe him, and then he
Hmm.
literally gets up, covered in blood splatter, opens the door, unlocks the door because the guy couldn't reach it,
Hmm.
unlocks the door, lets him out, and kisses him on the forehead. I think or some shit. That's how I feel about most of my friends right now. And it's really unfortunate because the ones who I'm kissing on the forehead are the ones who weren't fair weather.
Hmm.
And that's just universal math. All the
Hmm.
ones who are upset, all the ones who are frustrated, all the ones who don't ask what Deku is doing are the ones who are fair weather.
So you see, there's a interesting anomaly that's coming to mind, because in the presence of you doing as much on social media, because this again, it goes back to this communication thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in terms of the fact that I think what happens is with social media is a lot of people feel that when they watch social media, especially when someone posts a lot, that is the culmination of what their life is. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So the more that goes on there, like if you look at my social media, I post like maybe once a week. You know what I mean? So it's like people kind of like know what I do, but they don't necessarily. I don't think I give off the intent, like the feeling that people know. Well, the podcast obviously lets people know who I am, but but yeah, but you know what I mean. But when you're posting videos, and you're posting, you're putting up a bunch of posts with a bunch of thoughts, and you're doing everything. I think people get to, and I mean, this isn't just you. I think this is anybody who has any kind of social presence. I think people feel like they know who you are. They know.
Felt past tense. Thus,
it's always. I mean, that listen. This is always the biggest conundrum with humans is that you're never who you were yesterday, but you're always judged on who you were yesterday. So the thought process cannot ever catch up.
You
know what I mean?
Second. Sorry, I was distracted by my girlfriend. Give me a second. Sorry, I will be back. And just hold on to that thought. I'm really, really sorry. I just have to actually move. You know, I wouldn't move if it wasn't important.
Yeah. Dead air time. Yeah. So anybody listen to this? Hope you guys are doing good. Hope everything's great right now. It is snowing like fuck outside, and it's pretty cold. And yeah. So yeah, we are. What is?
No, I didn't.
What is the date today?
But my energy is there, so like it is.
I'm not even sure. I think it's the 4th. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I'm with you. Could you dive me back in, if anything? Just lead me back in, and I'll be good to go. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Yeah. Sorry, I was talking about your social, your social presence. The fact that you post so often, because you're saying that like people don't delve in to who you are, ask you how you're doing. You know what I mean? But I think because you have,
they watch you. They don't ask how I'm doing. They watch.
Right. But I think that's where I think this is a huge issue across the board, is the fact that people believe that what they're watching is in essence who people are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They believe that this is
that as their reality, whereas I know it's a facade because I've done the facade. I think.
That's it. I think a lot of people just don't put enough thought into it to understand that it's that it's the facade and it's not real. And I think that's the problem, is that
a lot of people want to know. That's also something I've noticed.
Yeah, I'd say this. I'd say some people don't. I'd say they no. I always say that devotion and ignorance are very close to each other. But yeah, but it's a difficult situation that we get into because, like you've been saying, like you want people to understand you and you want people to ask how you're doing. But I think what happens is when you post, or when you're someone who posts a lot, you give the guise of, not the guys, but it sends this weird message of saying that, like, yeah, well, this is what I'm doing and this is where I'm going and these are the movements I'm making and this is what I'm, doing, and this, because it's communication. It's like I'm talking about, it's communication, and this is a new form of communication we do not yet understand. But in the old context of how people communicate, it's
under the old paradigms, yes. Under the new paradigms, no.
That's it. But you got to remember that the majority of, what is it? It's like 1 in 10 people are on social media. And of those, that percentage, it's something like 33% of them are making something like 90% of the content.
Yeah.
So it's a language that, on the general sense, when you look at it by numbers, is not necessarily new. It's more of a niche. But because it's become the form as to which a lot of people communicate, it's like they're speaking in a broken language. I always
No,
equate.
they're speaking. No, you're wrong. They're speaking a language they don't understand yet. You
Well,
understand?
it's
So
a
it's like,
broken language.
when a baby
It's a
is
slang.
saying, when
It's a
a
slang.
baby is what?
It's a slang. It's like a slang of anything. It's like it's a communication.
It's not
But
slang. I mean, yes, but slang has a basis of truth and understanding within the group of people. This is not a truth and understanding. This is perceived understanding. Understand? This is not like when we in slang say, I'm down, you and I both know I mean yes. Understand? That comes from understanding that when I say yes to this, it means yes. So now if I use a different word for that, it means the same thing. We both understand that. Whereas people on the internet don't understand what they are even saying. You understand? So
yeah,
when
no,
they
I
are
understand. But it's the same thing like
when they are
adopting
lessening
a
their
new way of speaking.
communications based on the fact that they have been posting about their pregnancy for X amount of time, and now they haven't posted for 4 weeks at all, I know that there's a miscarriage. I'm saying that bluntly. I've literally seen it happen 6 to 7 times. And I'm not saying
Sure.
that to be rude. I'm not saying that to be condescending. I'm not saying that to
No,
be mean.
but
I'm not
that's the
saying that to
psychology.
be pro-life,
Yeah.
pro against anything. I'm not saying that anything. I'm just saying that like the data shows that when a woman is posting about her pregnancy sequentially, weekly, all this type of things, and then stops, usually it's because something went wrong. It's not because something's going well. So
Right.
when something goes wrong, the odds are usually it's miscarriage. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm not saying that to be condescending. I'm just saying that like that's just what I'm saying. I'm saying that like, it's so accurate because everyone's speaking the same language and they don't even know language they're speaking.
Well, but
So
you see,
now,
now you're talking about body language more than you're talking about actual verbiage.
no, I'm mixing both because I'm saying that people on social
Well,
media
no,
are
in social media terms, what you're talking about, that would be considered body language. So,
yeah,
like,
nonverbal. Yes,
exactly, it's nonverbal communication.
yes,
So,
yes. You're playing the game now.
well, no, but
I've learned to read people's nonverbals on social media to a T.
well, I think we're always all students, so you can never be like so sure of it. But yes, there is generalities to where you can understand.
Archetypes exist and people move in archetypes, and I recognize that. I changed the way I was posting when I started playing The Sims, and I made a sim that was accurate to my personality, and he was doing things that I do in real life.
But that's what the game is supposed to do.
Exactly. So if that's what the game is supposed to do, which means that the game understands us like that, if I play into that, it's not going to
Well,
work.
the game doesn't understand. You're doing that. You're
Exactly. That's my entire point. Is that we're all moving the same. If every paranoid person reads the same posts on the internet, which means we all adapt the same way, which means that subsequently the
But
Sims
that's
can
not true,
predict
though.
how we.
Not
I think
everybody
so.
reads the same way.
I think so. I
No,
think. I
no,
think.
no,
Go
no,
ahead. Let's play. Let's play.
no.
We've hit the wall where we have fun. Let's go.
How can you conceive that everybody sees the same post the same way when we have such a drastic like differential in something like exactly what we're talking about in communication? Like I can post something on the internet and say something. We've seen it a million times, and someone will take it as an offense, and then someone else will think it's hilarious.
But Republicans and Democrats all Google, how do I water my succulent the same way? That's what I'm talking about.
Not necessarily. Some will say, "How do I like? What kind of plants need this amount of water? Does a succulent
But
need
what I'm
water
trying to
this
say,
many times?"
what I'm trying to tell you is that because of the way Google moves, all that is funneled into the same fucking little post because someone paid
Sure.
to find all these people. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say is that the game is rigged, and now we're thinking. I mean, this is me getting a little conspiratorial, so bear with me. Bear with me being the key word. I'll say one more time. Bear with me. Um, if everybody is using their medium that is in their pocket reactionarily to things that are happening around them, I believe that the way that Google writes, the way they write on Google, what does, and then the top thing comes up, meaning that X amount of people did what does and then wrote this. That's how I understood it. Is that correct?
Kind of. There's also paid searches. There's also preferential searches. There's a couple of different things that play into that same thing, but
All
like,
based on dollars and income. So someone else is behind it as well, right?
well, dollars and data. It's an even factor between the two. Like dollars can pay to get you at the top. Data will always win out.
Data always wins out, but I think that the way, you know what, I'll use it better. Here's a better example. The way basketball data was skewed until Steph Curry showed up, that.
What do you mean by that?
Basketball data dictated that the three-point shot was a bad shot.
Okay.
Based on aggregated data of plus and minuses on that amount of shots in the history of basketball that they have.
Okay.
Steph Curry showed up, started doing it. A whole generation started doing it. Now the basketball data says threes and low twos is the mode of basketball. When someone decides to be a high volume Tyreek Evans-like player and shooting old school and playing 15-footers, and it infects a whole generation because he's so good at it, the basketball data is going to skew again. You understand? Because we're the ones creating our data.
Yeah, that's trend.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is that based on that concept, I believe that if you take it and place it in front of why is Spider-Man blue and red? Everybody Googles that. You follow? Are you with me still?
No. Why is Spider-Man?
What I'm trying to explain.
No, keep going. It's fine. Like I'll catch up.
I'll keep on going with that. Okay.
Yeah,
so why is Spider-Man? Everyone, Republican, bipartisan, whatever it is, Googles. Why does Spider-Man's costume? Why is Spider-Man's costume red and blue? Meaning that if someone is making a movie and needs to know if a red or a blue one, a red or a blue Spider-Man is good or a black Spider-Man is good, they're gonna go check the data to see how many people like what, and it's gonna show that red and blue is good. So until someone decides to bucket and change the narrative and infect people with a different idea, people won't look for it because that's not what they're trained to do. You understand? I'm weird because I'm posting different on the internet. I'm not weird. I'm just trying something. Ask, you idiots. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm deemed weird, I assume that everyone else is just doing this and just doing what they have to do, which is okay, and I ain't mad at it. But if you look at it,
I agree with you to a certain extent. I think it's also
but you see conceptually what I'm playing with, right?
No. And listen, I've always seen conceptually what you've played with. Like I've always to a certain extent understood
crazy. You could
your
say
point. Well, no, I've always understood your point of view to an extent. Like I understand where you're trying to go with it. You know what I mean? I understand what you're trying to do. The thing is, as on trend as it is to be an outlier or to be someone who is trying to go against the normalcy, reinvent the wheel,
I hear it.
Look in that direction. You got to remember that as human beings, we're also built to follow trend. So the idea of language and the idea of that normalcy is because a bunch of people came together and said, that's called a rock. And they all agree.
That's it.
Yes, that's a rock. Yep. And when someone wants to say hello to you, they say, hello, how you doing? And hello, how you doing comes as an idea. So much in social media and like what we're talking about it being a language, although these things have not been what's the word I'm looking for? These things have not been concretely solidified as anything. When people are trying to discover the way or basing their actions on a certain groundwork of, if you want to talk to somebody personally, use the DMs. If you want to show somebody, if you want to share with somebody something that you've done that was with them, you mention. If you want to get an idea across or whatever, you create a post. You know what I mean? So in that creation of action and whatever you want to say, acceptable action, when you have someone who is going in the opposite term, I think what it does is it shows confusion by the people, like, because they're like, well, I don't understand because he's not navigating on normal terms. He's not doing this on normal, like he's grabbing my attention, but it's like you're the kid writing on walls because you want the attention of your parents.
Yep.
But instead you could have just simply like walked up and been like, hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But to your point, when you do it in that terms, because when I'm looking for people for this podcast, I follow the general way of, you know, I'll see somebody post something, I'll talk to them, I'll DM them and ask them a question, you know, like, hey, my name is so-and-so. I've started this small podcast. I'm all about, you know, talking to really interesting people. Would you be interested in coming on my podcast and talking about this?
You know what I mean? You know how I move? You know how I move? I'm watching something like Trump, literally like Trump. I'm watching like literally the news. I'm watching soccer. I see a shoe that is dope. I know Blake likes shoes. I know Ernst likes shoes. I know Wizzy likes shoes, and I know what's his name? His name escapes me. The owner of DJ Kicks. His name escapes me.
Shit, no, you've made me forget his name too.
Nah, we're not. We're together. It is. We can just bleep it and pretend like we didn't know.
Harry. I want to see his name starts.
Shondell. Here it is. Shondell.
Shondell. There you go. That's it.
Ooh, Shondell, my nigga. You see? It's in here, my nigga. It's in here, G. No, okay. But yeah, so like I get Shondell. And then literally I'll tag all of you in a post. And then wait. If you guys are interested in the thing I've tagged you in, you will go, huh? When you guys go, huh? Okay. Then they go, yo, this is what I'm trying to do. This is how I'm trying to do it. This is when I want to do it. Proper production sheet, timeline, time I need you, everything. I work in production. I know how to do this shit. So then, if the person's down subsequently, then they come. And I know that I've hooked the person off interest, not off some weird social agreement of wanting to talk to Deku because he's crazy and, you know, we need to talk to the crazies. Like that type of shit. Like, nah, fuck you. Like, I want to actually have a real conversation.
But do you think about they think you're crazy because you're back-ending like that. You're back-ending, or do you think they, like, you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to simply just asking them a question, it's kind of like, for me, I totally understand where you're coming from and I understand your position. But for me, it's like when I was in high school, I had a girl who hated me all throughout high school.
Yeah.
Talk shit, whatever, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, everything. Come to find in my last year, the reason she did that was because when I was in 7th grade, I broke up with her. Like, it wasn't that serious. Like, I didn't think of it that serious a relationship, but she basically just held that grudge the entire time. So, 100%. But as opposed to coming up to me, and I'm not saying that you could do that when you're whatever, but as opposed to coming up to me and simply just saying, listen, what you did
was shitty.
It was shitty and it hurt me. Whatever. And and that's it. And then we could have talked about it and it could have been done.
Yeah.
You spent 4 years trying to torment me.
Stewing and holding on to it. And then building yourself up to be ready for the conversation, and then you're gonna get me. And like, come on, bro. Like,
so to turn to show you the view from the other side from when you do that, right? So,
I know.
Just to take your example. Well, no, but like, just to take your example, okay? So your example was you saw a pair of shoes on the TV.
Yeah.
You took your shoes. You took a picture of it. You tagged all of us. Okay. And then you started talking about, hey, if we want to do this, you know, do this podcast, do this here, do that. You want to talk about this, like this, whatever, like, let's do this and I'll sign up here. And this is the timesheet, right? So you started off talking about shoes. And usually, and what happens is usually, because if that's in a post, like if it's a post, it's fine because the post sits there. You have time to digest it and look at it. they're like, yeah, I do like those shoes. You could tell, you know what I mean? And you'd be like, yeah, those are dope. What happens is, in your mind, because of how fast you're flipping back and forth through processes, is you put that in a mention in a story. And that mention gets put in with 7 other different things because you're moving from that thought to the next thought to the next thought to the next thought. And you're trying to combine all those thoughts together and then ship it out. So I see he mentioned, and then I go look. And then for the first 12 instances, it's not me. So I'm scrolling through all these things quickly to look through it to be like, okay. And then I see the one that was supposed to be about me, and I'm like, okay, but I don't understand what you're trying to say about this because there's no context.
Why don't you guys just ask?
Because Deku, you got to understand something, dude. The idea of communication and conversation is to take your thought and your idea and be able to convey it to people in a terms of where they can understand what it is you're trying to get across. It's understandable you have this thought, and it's a great thought, and it's cool. But the thing is, Deku, I wake up in the morning, I've got to dress a kid. I've got to get a kid ready for school. I got to go drive the kid to school. I got to come back to school. I got to workout plans. I've got to go through all these kind of things. I got to worry about a mortgage. I got to worry about healthcare. I got to worry about this and that. When I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking, the thing about social media is this like shortened, contextualized thing that is supposed to get directly to the point right away, show me what it is you want, and then move. In the way that you're playing with it, and again, you can play with it however you want. It's totally up to you. You can do whatever you want. But to kind of sit there and be like, hey, listen, I had this, look at this there, and then expect somebody to ask is like being the kid who wrote on the wall all over the place when I came home, and I'm like, dude, why did you do this? Oh, well, whatever. When really all you wanted was just the conversation. When it's like, when like I've told you, it's like, Deku, man, if you got some kind of like existential idea that goes through your mind, put it in a group chat. Because every time you group chat me or personal message me, I message you back right away, and I'll be like, I think that's a good thought because I understand where you're coming from.
Let me finish.
But
let me add to it. Sorry. So let me add to it. So let me finish.
No, go ahead.
But
your audio is breaking up.
All those things are correct, but that's not how we communicate when we're in crisis.
So what you're saying is you're in crisis.
No, what I'm saying is that when I was in crisis and I was yelling on the internet and I was moving unorthodoxly, and you showed up, and Trudeau showed up, and Charles showed up, and Jen showed up, and Tamara showed up, and all these motherfuckers showed up, is because y'all saw how it was moving, analyzed it, said, something is wrong, either asked or showed up to check. That's called being proactive. What I'm literally exposing to humans is that if I can hold the mirror, I'm okay right now, you know this. Half an hour and 13, you know I'm straight. What I'm saying is, if I hold that mirror up to humans...
Can you fix your audio? Because you sound like a robot.
Oh, my bad. I'll plug this in. Tell me if this helps. It always happens after, like, this is a thing. It always happens after an hour and 15. I get into this weird thing.
There you go.
Hold up, I can't hear you. Give me a second.
Perfect. Now you're good.
Better?
Yeah, a lot better.
Okay, bet. So, what was I saying?
You were saying that you were in crisis.
Oh yeah, when people showed up. So what I'm saying is that in the end, my thing, that's my thing, my talk, my blah blah, my persona, my MO, whatever the hell it is black men mental health. Like I want to fix that shit. Subsequently, athlete mental health, because that shit annoys me that no one's paying attention to it. Everyone will clap when we're doing good, but when we do bad, everyone's not going to show up or laugh because they think we're still entertaining them. But we're humans. Like, check up on us, motherfuckers. Anyways,
I think it's getting better, but yeah, okay, go ahead.
It's not getting better. That's my entire point. It's not. David is known to be.
It's getting better.
Bruh, listen. David is known to have mental health problems. No. David has done the work for the last, for the last like 2 years of my life. I've been working like crazy, going to therapy, having different jobs so I can go to therapy like twice a week. I'm doing online therapy. I'm doing telephone therapy. I'm taking my pills right, taking a multiple of cocktails, trying different sleep patterns, a million different things. So I'm changing my nutrition. You saw how much weight I've dropped, and now I'm like 235 or 230, some shit. Like I got abs again. Like literally, if you listen to the podcast of us this time last year, I was talking about I'm 310. I got to figure it out. Now I'm 235. Like I'm doing the thing.
Yeah.
People, instead of checking up on David when his influx of posts happen, they talk amongst themselves and laugh at me and joke about me. And I know this because one of the people I'm not going to say his name because it's not that point. One of the people who is my friend, who was telling me about how other people are doing it, sent me screenshots to prove that that other people were talking about me. But in those screenshots, I'm seeing the back and forth between him and these other people talking about, I want to punch David in the face. He's so annoying. All this type of shit. Like, for real. Like, I have the screenshots and I'll show them to you. My point is, I'm not basing my entire life on those screenshots. What I'm saying is that this is the thing that I've been trying to hold a mirror up to people at, is that those same humans who are talking about, he's so annoying, I want to punch him in the face, don't call me to check up.
Okay.
At least you call me to check up and then say I'm going to punch him in the face. That's fine. Because you checked up on the human and you weren't just watching the entertainer. You understand?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to hold people accountable to is the fact that even if I'm posting crazy, check up on me, you motherfuckers. Like, stop looking at this as if this is my humanity. This is what I choose to post. It's a choice, no matter how you cut it. You have to sign in, no matter how you cut it. So I know cognitively somehow what I'm doing. Unless I'm writing XYZWT, no, like it's not words, but it's words. So I'm trying to communicate something. And instead of seeing the flux of communication, seeing the amount of stories, seeing the type of stories, seeing what I'm posting about, seeing all these type of things and being a moderately investigative journalist or critical thinker, you go, he's so fucking annoying, he posts 30 times a day. That's how you see it? That's how your brains work? Nah, bro. Again, fair weather. They're no longer my friends. It is what it is. They're not even no longer my friends. I just don't care anymore. Like they've made me understand I don't have to care about them. You understand? So it's like it's not an issue. But my point is just like, this is what I'm trying to talk about. Is that we're gonna post Bell, let's talk, and then literally not talk.
Interesting
Indeed, my friend. Interesting indeed. And to be clear, there's a long form piece of art that's gonna come out of all of the posts that people deemed crazy, with the voice note from the day, with the text messages from behind the scenes, the talks in long form with the parents, therapist clips, all in one thing. So you can understand that when you're looking at the post, it's just the tip of the fucking iceberg. You fucking idiots. Sorry for cussing. I'm yelling.
Yeah, you can cuss. You can cuss.
It's so frustrating because it's like, these are the same people who look me in the eyes and say, I'm your ally. I'm taking care of you, Deku. I want to be here. Let me be here for you. And then when I post crazy, they talk about they want to punch me in the mouth. Like, fuck you. You're actively showing why you don't do the thing. And I call you out on that, and I'm the bad guy, and I'm crazy, and I'm broken. I bet. Say less. Cheers, bro. Like, I mean, literally, that's where I'm at. Because it's like, everyone is literally actively showing that they're not the people they deem themselves to be. I'm not even trying. I'm just posting about things I'm reading about. That's it. I read about James Baldwin. I post about James Baldwin. I read about surfing. I post about surfing. I'm watching The Sims and watching soccer. And then I'm going to read about soccer and read about Cellini being an asshole or doing something bad, and I'm going to post about it. That's it. It's literally ink to Urkel's notes. It's a trail for myself. And everyone else is commenting on it and deeming it a depiction of my mental health status. What? That's where we're at.
Well, you're posting
what?
it, though.
But that doesn't. But what am I posting about? Am I posting about suicide, hurting myself, anything? No. I'm posting 30 posts about James Baldwin.
Yeah.
And that makes me crazy.
It looks erratic.
It looks erratic and not concise as the 30 posts about James Baldwin.
Yeah.
Think about it, Blake.
I do think about it all the time.
I'm not sure you do. Well, I mean, I'm sure you do, of all people. If anyone thinks about it, it's definitely you. But the point being is the most of people don't. So I'm used to that being my rhetoric. No, so I have to actually change it. So forgive me.
But here's my thing that I think I'm kind of gauging the situation. I feel like I'm in my mind. It's turning in. The mold is turning into something. But you're in this weird headspace where you're trying to convey a message. Okay.
Not necessarily. I'm trying to hold a mirror.
No. Listen, I think you need to be a little bit more honest with yourself. And I'm not coming after you, but I'm a friend, as a brother,
anyone can come after me, it's you.
As a grandfather,
Grandpa, go. I got ears. I got ears for you.
I believe that you're trying to convey a message, and I believe what you're trying to do is you're trying to go into this, kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Yes.
Because you're hurt by the people whom have not given you the attention or delved into you as much as you feel they should have, especially when you were crying out for help and people did not hear you for the most part.
Well, they saw it as entertainment, but go on.
No, listen, it's not even entertainment. It's because the problem with mental health and stress is that a lot of people...
Talking.
But listen to me first, okay?
I'm listening.
The problem is that a lot of people reach out in ways that to the general public, they do not understand are in turmoil, okay? As someone who's been around people whom have had issues, have had mental breakdowns, I've seen burnouts happen in a multitude and have surfaced themselves. It's the thing you learn in psychology is that there is no one way that these things appear. Okay.
That part. There's no formula. It's all based on the sum of the people's experiences. Like,
to an extent, sometimes it's insane. The human mind
there's archetypes, but
there is and there's not. Because when you try to apply archetypes to certain situations, you'll get something that makes no sense whatsoever.
Bro, I'm deep. My girl's a social worker. Trust me, she's got all the information, bro.
But so
scary.
But so here's my point. Okay, you're living on this weird tightrope between trying to convey a message and not giving a fuck about the message. So you're doing things in terms of, and whether you know it or not, okay, you're doing things that are you're trying to draw attention to yourself, your turmoil,
somewhat, your
thing. Like,
yes.
And I think
I'm taking notes, by the way, because as usual, and okay, motherfuckers who don't know this, Blake calls me sometimes and just checks me. And when he checks me, it rattles my soul. And when it rattles my soul, I take notes, and literally my life gets better. He does it for me. I know he does it for Wizzy. I know he does it for probably Ernst and Wood too. I'm on to you. You're poisoning our minds with your rhetoric. You pastor. What are you, Reverend Blake? Reverend Blake. I'm on to you. Reverend Blake. Anyways, go on. I'm listening.
I only give my opinion. That's all it is. It's just an opinion.
Shut up.
No, but just like, because after listening to you for like the last hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I get from you is that you're playing with the different ways to communicate in terms of that you're trying to find the best way to actually convey your message and your feelings.
And I'm trying
to the most amount of people. The problem is in experimenting with so many different ways, you've in some cases lost the most direct way of communicating with somebody, which is literally directly, like
one-on-one.
Your one-on-one direct message, whatever it is. You've even in certain cases, like I always know you're going through something because your language gets you start sounding like you're trying to invent a new slang term. You start talking. You start talking like you're in a different. I don't know how to explain it. It's like you're creating a new slang. You know what I mean?
I start speaking my own language, but my energy's on some Mussolini shit. So it's like Mussolini, but he's saying his own words. It's a whole
like
thing.
Hitler. You're like Hitler before he went to go and talk to Stalin to convince him to stay in the war. You know what I mean? That's where it gets to. Like that's where it gets to. You start going off and you can't get a word in edgewise.
Oh, I know. It's exhausting for me too. Trust me.
But so what I'm seeing from you is that there's two things you have to take in consideration. One, you care more about your communicative process than you lead on. You care more about getting your message out to people so that they understand you and communicate with you in the way that you want. And two, that the process in which you're partaking in doing what you're doing is removing you from a generalized, already established way of communication, which you need to respect is still the normalcy for the majority of people.
Yeah, I see you.
In certain cases, there is nothing wrong with being blissfully ignorant.
Blissfully ignorant.
And you need to understand that a lot of people on this planet are going to be in a position to where they are going to work hard enough to create a world in which they are happy with, and that world may not it may not jive with yours, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't, but don't invalidate mine.
No, but the thing is, what they're going to do is they're going to validate theirs by devaluing yours.
But why is that necessity? We can both exist. We don't have to take away from mine to make yours.
In some cases, but the thing is, they're only taking away from yours when you give them the value of doing so, as opposed to arguing with those people and trying to convince those people that this needs to be done. You simply just dismiss it and just say like, okay, you're not on my level. We're not cool. Like we don't jive the same way. Like let's just
That's difficult for me to do as a person. That's not who I am. But I'm learning that that's who I have to be. But for 3 years of my life, I don't let go of people. I don't allow myself to let anyone go because I used to be bullied heavily. So I don't want to let people go. But at this point, it's been 33 years. I'm done.
But I think this is where a lot of your turmoil comes from.
Yeah,
I think a lot of your turmoil comes from the fact that there are relationships that you refuse to let go of, and that you're researching any way, shape, or form that you are going to have this relationship on some level. The problem is what I don't think you're surmising is how much effort you're wasting. I'm not even going to call it wasting, but how much effort you have to exude,
bro,
in order to communicate with those who don't want to be communicated with.
Bro, I'll go a step further. You know the boys, the gang, the trio that I hang out with. Those guys have been giving me so much stress with regards to basically fast forwarding through the story. Therapist told me find your own happiness. My method of finding my own happiness is picking 12 random things, learning them as well as I can, and then choosing what brings me the most joy. At this point, what brings me the most joy is music, skateboarding, and film. So I focused on those three. And creativity. Let's call it film and creativity.
Sure.
Based on that being the situation that I'm in, it's caused so much stress to my friends that I'm trying new things, or I don't know what it is that I'm doing. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am though. That I've had these 12 ideas that I'm focused on that literally I can't explain it to them. I go, hey guys, this is one of the 12. They go, no, the idea is stupid. You have to stop. And I go, what? You didn't even hear it. And it's been going on for literally months.
But what do you mean? I'm confused by what you mean.
The basis of what I'm trying to say is that a lot of the friends around me, don't even listen to my thoughts. So based on the fact that the thoughts are all I have, it's very difficult for me to let those go. And it causes a lot of friction in my life with me trying to understand how I can communicate said thoughts. When really the move is just, okay, literally. When they say, no, what you've researched for the last 4 years isn't real, okay. Like, I know it is, so there ain't no problem. But instead, I'm trying to convince these people, and it's causing me so much stress. So all
But
that
why
to say,
though?
because they're my day one friends, and I believe that I have to keep them with me. Because I've seen everyone who didn't keep them with them, and it always leads to them going astray eventually. So I thought that maybe keeping them around me would keep me from going astray, but it's causing me literally more stress than I need. To the point where, and this is the end of the point, is to the point where literally after recording them, this is how many times it happens. Okay, I started recording them consentfully, going like, guys, I'm gonna record this session of me trying to explain my ideas. They laugh at me and go, bet. In Montreal, I have 40 minutes of video of them not letting me explain. Now, where I am, I have them on film multiple times trying me going, hey, this is just the idea. And they go, no, you need more data. You need more truth. You need more. And I'm like, dude, I've been researching this for 4 years. No, no, no. And then to the point where literally it was me and my girl sitting here talking to all three of them, sorry. And then I got to a point where I just looked at them and I goes, okay, literally.
But what's the premise of having to explain it to them?
I believed that I needed their validation to move forward. Simply put. Simply put. I had displaced my parental validation into my friends rather than into myself. I've been to therapy. I know what I'm doing. It's just, it's difficult to not do it when you have bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's that part that is so difficult because I'm sitting there looking at myself fight to keep these people in my life and not knowing why. And then literally, you can ask Mish, the day after I let it go is being the word. Let it go. Not solved it. Let it go. We had the most peaceful day. David was calm. I had no stress. I got work done. I finished a project. I helped some friends. It was relaxed, peaceful, no mental health disorder. Well, I mean, not yet. I say that, but you hear my point. I'm not saying that when I don't have them around, I'm not bipolar. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that like it's not exacerbated. I mean, so it's just like, anyways, you're so right as to the fact that I need to just let it go. But anyways, I digress. Sorry.
I don't even know if you need to let it go, but I think what you need to understand is that your specific mind in the way that it works is yours.
I know. I have to accept that.
And you have to stop trying to expect everybody else, one, to be on board with how you think, two, to share your ideals, and three, to need to justify your existence all the time.
Quick question. I agree, first and foremost. It's not me glossing over what you just said.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
You've always gone against the grain as a human. Is it because you light skin?
Not really.
What is it? Well, you have. You've always been not choosing. You've always chosen actively to not be the norm.
If that is the case, then it's because I do it quietly.
Okay.
I find no reason to shout to the mountaintops that everybody's wrong or that everybody is doing things in an improper way. I mean, again, being human in itself is a contradiction. Like,
fact.
We do so many things that just contradict who we are and what we do. We have
what we deem to be real, what we deem to be truthful.
we have our personal opinions, we have group opinions. I mean, like, there's so many factors that come into play when you're talking about the psychology of things and how people work and how we socially get along with each other, how we come to make decisions. I mean, the fact of the matter is survival wins out over everything, regardless of whether something is logical or not. If someone's in a village where everybody believes in a pagan god and those who don't believe in the pagan god are going to be burned. Are you really going to be the one who stands up and says they're not real? For what purpose? So you don't have to go kneel in front of a statue for, an hour at a time, for every day for an hour, but the rest of your day goes perfectly fine. Okay, fine, cool. Like, whatever. It is what it is, man. It's the whole thing about, like, it's the humans have this thing where we all crave social interaction. We see that more now than ever with the COVID pandemic, right? That we so badly just want to be around each other. We want to be connected to each other. That's not with a screen. The where we lose face, where the greats are great, is because they accept that they're different and they just keep moving. Like the Elon Musks, the Jordans, the Kobes, the Jerry Rices, the Randy Mosses, the Patrick Mahomes, what I mean?
Just we built different. It is what it is.
What is that lady's name? Vivian. Oh shoot, I always forget her name. God damn it. Even to some extent, like Kamala Harris, the beautiful lady she's a senator now. I just listened to I Am Other podcast with her. Crap, I forget. She was also on Barbershop. Crap, I forget her name.
Who are we talking
about? Big black lady. She came up with
lips, little dreads.
Yeah.
Lips, little dreads, kind of like yours, but a little bit shorter.
Yeah, and she came up with this. She's like a
Georgia governor.
No? That's it. Thank you. Yeah, the Georgian government, exactly.
Georgia governor. Yeah, I forget her name.
Even, I look at her. She is one of the greatest examples of this, because she knew going into her election she was going to lose. She knew it.
Yeah.
But what she didn't do is expect to win. What she did is she rationally put things out there and said, because she's a mathematician, she figured out how to do things mathematically, like how long change was going to take. Yeah. And she based her model on that. And a lot of people will not play to that. They won't accept that, because it's not. Listen, math and logic are fantastic for basing your society on, but the dreamers, the ones who don't listen, they're the ones who push the needle. So if everybody was on the same brand and level,
the yin and yang,
we'd never go anywhere. That's it. We never go anywhere. We need both, and that's why I don't get. That's why I don't get like caught up in trying to debate or prove or fight, because
maybe you're not from the right clan.
Well, it's not even about being from the right clan. It's both sides. The opposition, steel sharpens steel.
Yeah.
So the two sides colliding with each other is what creates the next thing.
Yeah.
So as much as I don't agree with you, or as logical or as common sense as something is, maybe there's a chance in what you're doing brings about something different.
And that's where I am always. And that's why I don't understand why people can't give me the same goddamn grace. Like I live there.
Because they're not built that way. That's not how societies are built or humans are built. And it's a waste of time to try to get people change who don't.
It's a shame, man. It's a fucking shame, in my opinion.
No, it's not. It's about how your mentality works. Like, just think about, like, you conceptualize life, right? We have no idea whether any of this is true or not. Like, this is just your brain taking in your environment, creating something that you're familiar with. Like, we don't know.
Some of aggregated data.
We don't know, the true forms of all things. We have no clue. But people will create a life that even when they create lives through pain, like in recounting the same amount of pain, whether it's drugs, alcohol, violence, whatever it is,
right?
It's a sense of normalcy.
It's cyclical.
It's a sense of normalcy.
Cyclical.
And that's what humans really look for, is a sense of normalcy. A sense of normalcy, things they can predict, situations that they're familiar with. Like, that's where they go. So if that's what they want to do, then, I mean, listen, man, I'm there's one thing in the Bible that they say is that, your relationship with God is personal. Nobody can know your relationship with God. Nobody.
We talk about that.
No.
Why
I don't want to get him.
Oh, you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Yeah, but no, that's a whole other
Dude,
podcast.
dude. We gotta get Wizzy on that, by the way, because it's fucking his church shit is my favorite shit. He's so against it. It's so funny to me.
I mean, just believe what you can believe. Whatever makes you a better person.
That's
All I
it.
say. Just
If you're
believe
not
in whatever
hurting,
makes
if
you
you
a better
ain't hurting nobody, and what you believe in makes you good, bet it is what it is. None of us know. So like, why are we
That's it.
fucking in each other's business, man?
But some like to act like they know because again, sense of normalcy, sense of control,
Ah,
they
ah.
feel it, and that's what it is. So, but it's fine.
Mm.
It's again, as long as you don't affect my life and the way that I live things, I stay out of your way, you stay out of mine. We're good.
Yep.
We're good.
Yep. But speaking of affecting each other, I need you for a pod this week. What are we? Wednesday?
Yeah, shoot me time, and then I'll let you know. Like I said, usually a week
It's
in
still,
advance.
yeah.
So make the thing, but yeah, let me know.
I'm aiming for Friday as an end of week or Saturday, Sunday as end of week, but I know you can't do Saturday, Sunday. So I'm thinking Friday.
Yeah, we could just shoot me a message, let me know, and I'll let you know what my availability is because I have a couple of pods that are scheduled for Friday.
No worries, no worries. Only issue for me is the fact that one of my people are international, London based.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna check up with her when she wants to do it because I'm gonna run it on her time because she's the only one that's off time. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. Let me know.
So I'll keep you posted. It might be a little weird timing wise, but I'll push for as much normalcy as possible on both ends.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Everything's good
brother.
on your end? Everything's alive.
Man.
Everyone's good. Like real life shit minus podcast. Like we alive, we good. We alive, we good.
Can't complain.
All right.
Nope. Can't complain.
Shouts to Jen. Shouts to Monroe. Keep on growing. I'm proud of you, you little shotty. And hopefully
dude,
post.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. So I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the talk. It takes a lot to open up and discuss like your real, your real mentality and how things go. And I think it's important for people to have these conversations and try to have them
honestly.
Honestly, and try to apply a certain level of logic to things so that we can not just judge, like you said, not just judge people and consider them to be crazy, but to really just kind of talk through and have people see, both sides of what's going on.
Just ask if there's a tilde for me. What's a TLDR? Like that thing at the end of an internet thing. Anyways, I digress. I just want to say, ask. Don't judge. Just ask. Because I'm sure that 98% of the people that you ask will have an actual answer for you that makes sense. So just ask. Anyways, that's all. All right.
No, peace. For sure. And I appreciate you, brother. All right, guys.
Always.
This has been a long-ass podcast, but it's been a great one. Appreciate you all listening to it, and we are out. Good.